After becoming the best high school quarterback prospect, Freddy Key would later commit to Alabama and lead them to 2 different national championships while also winning a Heisman in his final year. Also, after spending 3 years in Alabama, Freddy would nearly break every single quarterback record held at the school. After winning his second championship, Freddy knew his time was up at Alabama, and he would later declare for the NFL draft, where a team would actually trade up to draft him. The Detroit Lions would trade back up into the top 3 after taking Aiden Hutchinson at 2 and draft Freddy Key in the 3rd overall spot. Freddy would go on to have an amazing training camp, making great reads and throws all summer long, which would later lead to him taking over as the starting quarterback. The long offseason would lead to this moment right here, where Freddy will be making his first NFL start against the reigning NFC champions, the Philadelphia Eagles. We would start this game off on offense, and Freddy Key would actually connect on his first ever NFL pass. But later in this drive, we would have to take a sack to Fletcher Cox, and then Freddy would not be able to connect on a 3rd down, and we would already have to punt early in this game. Our next drive, we were able to get a little bit more in rhythm as we would hit back-to-back throws over the middle, and this would help boost up Freddy Key's early confidence. Our biggest play wouldn't come until our 3rd drive of the game, where we would force the ball to Sam Laporta and he would blow right by the safety, another rookie to rookie connection, and we're going to go all the way for our first ever NFL touchdown. We would fall down by 7 once again to the Eagles, and we would have to make multiple big throws, and one being in the seam that would get us in the red zone, and then on a 3rd and 22, we would hit our prettiest throw yet in the NFL that would get us on the 1-yard line. After failing to get the ball in multiple times with our guy David Montgomery, another brand new addition to the Detroit Lions, we would have to force the ball in on a 4th and goal and get our 2nd touchdown of the game to tie this one on up. Our defense would get a stop and we would have a chance with 21 seconds remaining, but Freddy Key would force a terrible ball and throw his first ever NFL interception, but the defender would fumble and nobody would pick up the ball until Laporta would and take it all the way to the end zone with under 10 seconds remaining. This is definitely going to be the game. That was one of the most bizarre ways to end an NFL game, but Freddy Key has a victory in his first ever NFL start while ending the game with 258 yards and 2 total touchdowns. It definitely does help that we have some very good solid weapons around us named Amon-Ra St. Brown and a brand new tight end that has also been helping us win in Sam Laporta. This is going to be a fun NFL rookie season. In week 2, we are coming in with a lot of confidence playing the Washington Commanders. We're going to start off on offense once again and look to make a huge throw on the first passing play of the game, and we would be able to connect. After the big play, we were able to connect on a nice ball underneath, but that would lead to a 4th and 1 where David Montgomery would be able to do the rest, and then we would reward him with another carry, and then he would take this one in for a touchdown, and we already have an early 7-point lead. The Commanders would go on to tie the game up at 7 apiece, but we would find the speedster Jamison Williams down the sideline, and he would go all the way for a touchdown, and we would score on the first play of the 2nd drive. You can see the confidence our coach has in our offense already, as Freddy Key was making big throws after big throws after big throws, and we would do it all game long, even hitting this one with only 7 seconds remaining in the half. Now we're playing with a 10-point lead late in the 3rd quarter. We're looking to put the dagger in this game as we would hit another big throw that would later lead to Freddy Key stepping up in the pocket and getting his first ever rushing touchdown, and all of a sudden we lead this game by 17. Luckily in our 2nd game it wouldn't be as close, and we were able to kneel the clock on now, and we are now sitting at 2-0 in our first ever NFL season. But heading into game number 3, this game would not go as good as the first 2, as we would throw an interception on our first play of the game, and this game is already swinging the other way. But luckily, we were able to find Marvin Jones wide open down the sideline on the next possession and bounce right back and tie this game on up. It was almost like Marvin Jones was paying this Vikings defense because they kept leaving him wide open, and he would have the same exact play on the next drive, and it was like deja vu for his number 2 touchdown. We would continue to try to score some points, but this defense started to step on up as they would not only sack us once, but twice in a row on this drive. Luckily, our defense has been playing amazing this game, and we had a chance to go ahead and pack on top of our lead that was already sitting at 1 point, and we were continuing to have big throws just like this all game long. You would have thought that we were college teammates the way Sam Laporta and also Freddy Key were playing together in the first couple games, but we were trying to be too greedy on this next throw, and it would get tipped, and we threw a red zone interception. Our next offensive possession wouldn't come until we were down by 7 points in the 4th quarter, and we have to have a big play on this drive. Everybody on this Vikings D-line was getting all the way into the backfield into Key's chest every single play, and we were forcing awful balls, and we would throw our 2nd interception of the game in a crucial moment. Now burning our timeouts on defense, we only have a minute and 30 seconds remaining, and then we have to get a stop or an onside kick, and we would actually score very fast on this drive, and we actually have a chance. Our defense would get us the ball back with 16 seconds remaining, and we need a lot of big plays, but they would come down to this crucial 4th and 10. After dropping back and trying to convert, we would end up getting sacked once again, and this would be the Detroit Lions' first loss of the season and Freddy Key's first ever NFL loss. After the game, our running back David Montgomery would even confront us, asking us for more halfback touches, but Freddy would push it to the side as he locks in for our next matchup against the Seattle Seahawks as we look to bounce back. Just like last game, we were able to find Marvin Jones once again on the sideline, and this is turning into one of our best throws of the season as he would take it all the way down the sideline, and we already have 7 points on the board. The second drive would go nothing like the first drive as we were struggling to get out the pocket as this defensive line was eating us alive all game long as we get our first fumble of the season and cough the ball on up. This game, we could not hold a block for our lives as the defensive tackle would shed us and also pick up the fumble after sacking us, and this game is looking terribly. Now trailing by 14 points, we're looking to have some big plays before the half and at least get a couple points on the board, but Marvin Jones would be carrying us all season long, and we would later hit Sam Laporta for a touchdown to cut it down to 7 before half. The second half of this game, our offensive line was giving us a little bit better protection, and we were able to hit more subtle throws just like this, and we were trying to get some scores on the board. But getting to a 3rd and 10, we would have to force a contested throw, and we would later not convert, and our coach would pull us off to the sideline as we have to settle for 3. Now with Seattle scoring another touchdown, we find ourselves down 2 touchdowns, and we have to force a lot of balls down the field and score fast, and we're going to throw another interception, and this game is looking like it's over. Even though we would get the ball back and get a last-second touchdown just like this, it was not enough to come back into the game as we would take our second loss in a row and fall down to 2-2 on the season. In our next game, we would have a chance to take on an offensive juggernaut and bounce back as we would take on Tua Tagovailoa and the Dolphins. It would go on to easily score and take a 7-point lead, so we knew we had to put some points in this drive because having Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle on the other side, it is very hard to keep up with those guys. Already feeling much better this game, Freddy Key would show off his playmaking abilities. He would throw on the run and make some big plays just like this, and then later punch it in with an easy slant over the middle, and all of a sudden this game is tied. Our defense would get their first touchdown of the season as well, and we would keep on piling on with the offense as we would hit Amon-Ra for a huge gain. Our defense would give us great field position, and we would hit Sam Laporta, who would put us in even better field position for our coach to take us off the field, and we would settle for 3 to take a 10-point lead heading into half. Our kicker would actually end up missing the field goal, and we would only sit up by 7 points, but getting the ball at halftime, we feel like we are very comfortable in this game still as Freddy Key is feeling himself getting outside the pocket early. With multiple big throws just like this over the middle, Freddy Key was setting up a great offensive performance as we were shutting out the Dolphins on defense as well. Another score like this almost feels like a dagger. Our defense would continue to give us great field position all game long as we are once again set up on the 35-yard line, and we're going to even scramble out the pocket once the defensive line broke loose, and we are going to go all the way for another first down. Now all we're trying to do is just chew a little bit of this clock, and we were running around in the backfield a little bit. We didn't want to fumble the rock, but we would end up taking a sack, settling for 3 that drive, and then our defense would once again get a stop, and we would end up kneeling the game on out. After winning that matchup versus the Dolphins, we would fast forward to the end of the season where Freddy Key would actually lead the Lions to a 12-5 record while maintaining the number 2 seed heading into the playoffs. We would ultimately end up finishing the season with 4,200 yards, 31 touchdowns, and 17 interceptions, which is a lot, and he's going to have to keep those down as we take on the Carolina Panthers in our first ever playoff game. The nerves are up for Freddy as he would be taking on another rookie in this matchup, as this is also Bryce Young's first ever playoff game. This should be a great game. Would start this game off with a subtle throw underneath, but Jameson Williams would do much more as he would spin to the outside and take it for at least 15 yards. It seems like our entire team came into play as not only was it Jameson Williams, it was Sam Laporta, and it was everybody in this game as we already found ourselves in the red zone after only 3 plays. Our offense is on complete fire as we would also hit Amon-Ra St. Brown for an easy touchdown. It only took 4 plays to go 75 yards, and we already have 7 points in the playoffs. Bryce Young being the MVP favorite, we knew this was going to be a shootout as their offense was the number 1 in the league this season, and we knew we had to score points every single possession. One of the things we feared the most was taking bad sacks from their great defensive line featuring Derek Brown and also Brian Burns, and they would get us on back-to-back plays and we would have to punt the ball. But our defense would end up stopping them as well, and we are looking to put some more points up on the board. But on this play-action play right here, we're going to get hit as we throw the ball, and there's going to be our first playoff interception, and they are back in field goal range with 35 seconds remaining. They would quickly score, and we would have another possession with 17 seconds remaining, and Freddy Key would force another interception, but this time it's going to go all the way for 6, and all of a sudden the Panthers have 14 unanswered. Now with some motivation from our coach at the halftime break, we're looking to make some big plays on offense, and we're going to find wide receivers all over the place, and we're already on their side of the field. Freddy would get too cocky on the scramble, and he would run right into a linebacker and fumble the ball, and this would be 3 turnovers on 3 straight possessions. They would end up scoring 3 off of that fumble, and we need to at least get 7 right here if we want to stay in this game. But getting into the fourth quarter, we would chuck up a heave, and we would end up scoring, and we still have a little bit of life. Despite that play, they would kick another 3 and take another 13-point lead, but Freddy Key would miss another throw, and that would end up being the dagger, and we would go on to lose our first ever playoff game, sitting at 0-1 all time. Despite the heartbreaking loss, Freddy Key had an all-around great season where he was even able to make the playoff roster and become the starting quarterback and get to start in the first quarter. Freddy went into this game still sad after the playoff loss, but he wanted to show his peers that he absolutely belonged here, and he's here to stay for the upcoming years as well, as he would take only 2 plays to go ahead and score in this drive, as he would find Saquon Barkley, one of the best running backs in the league, wide open for a touchdown. If you made it this far in the video and you enjoyed this RTG with Freddy Key, make sure to hit that like and hit that subscribe, as we have way more coming along on this channel.